hijab is an integral part of our uniform. I should say Queen Amina, who fancies herself donning the colorful uniform of the Kefi Holy Child College in Lagos. On October 5, 2013, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, governor of Osun State at that time, and Mrs. Titi Lawe Tomori, deputy governor, decked themselves in school uniforms at the remodeled Salvation Army Primary School, Oshogbo. A vexatious United School uniforms across Osun State provoked a groundswell of agitation that kept the state on the edge. Now, the current government of Boyega Oyetola reversed the old uniform system on March 2nd, 2020. A rehash of the Osun debacle has been recorded in Kwara State. 10 missionary schools have been shut down over their refusal to allow Muslim students wear the hijab. An attempt at opening the schools, which Muslim students donning the hijab, led to a logjam in the state capital of Oshogbo. Ilorin, I should say, Ilorin. For a 21st century Nigeria that has much more than enough in the plate to chew, deliberately stoking embers of whatever is inane and infantile. This morning I have two gentlemen to broach the subject matter, and the subject matter again, yoking under a noxious uniform regimen, replicating the Osun comedy. The gentlemen are Islamic scholar, accountant, public affairs analyst Alhaji Sarafa Yussuf is on the telephone in Lagos here. Good morning, Alhaji Yussuf. How do you do?
No, my name is not Alhaji Yussuf. Alhaji Sarafa Adeleke Lawal.
Okay, Sarafa Adeleke Lawal. That correction is noted. Adeleke Lawal. How do you do, sir?
Alhamdulillah, we thank God.
Okay.
Give glory to God the Almighty.
All right, let's bring to the microphone Sam Ibemere, journalist, public affairs analyst on the inside of the studio. Sam, I greet you.
Good morning, Citizen Jones. Glad to be here.
Alhaji Lawal, since you are away somewhere in Lagos, but very near at the microphone, let's have you open your salvo here. Remember, yoking under a noxious uniform regimen, replicating the Osun comedy. Let's go.
Yes, thank you, Citizen John. I thank you for the wonderful opportunity you gave me this morning to hear my view on the subject matter. I want to greet all your listeners in Lagos and those that are outside Lagos that are listening to this radio station through other means. I will say good morning to you all.
Go on.
And brothers and sisters, I say Salamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The peace and blessings of Allah be with you all. Now, back to the issue at stake. Hijab is an Arabic word. We can define it as a religious veil worn by Muslim women in the presence of any male outside of their immediate family. It usually covers the ear, head, and chest. There are moderate ones and there are bigger ones. It is not optional to Muslim women because it is ordained by God the Almighty. Anytime woman or young lady has reached age of puberty, it is compulsory wherever she goes to put on her hijab. If it is optional, probably many Muslim women would have opted to use it at will when they feel like. But it is not so, and that is where some people are getting it wrong. Some people will say, why now? It is a part of the uniform? No. If you look at it critically, it does not alter the uniform of the school. The shirt and the skirt is still going to be what the school authority has defined it to be. The only difference is they will be allowed to put on their hijab. And it is not only in Nigeria. If you go to South Africa, an African country, their military, the women are allowed, people took the matter up. They even went to law court before they were allowed. I wonder if that has happened in Nigeria. Maybe military women or police are allowed to use hijab on their uniform. I trust some people may come up with, this is Islamization. But if you look at it critically, it is not so. It is fundamental human rights of Muslim women or Muslim ladies.
At some point, government, can the former owners lay claims to how those schools will be run? This for me is fundamental, because if government has taken possession of these schools and have made them public schools, then government reserves the right on how the schools will be governed. But that doesn't seem to be the case, where the managers of the mission schools felt that.
But the uniform was never at issue at any time until now in those schools.
It wasn't Jones, but at the point that the schools gave government access to in the admission of those schools, there ought to have been. I don't have my information, all well laid out here.
Okay.
But there ought to have been fundamental agreements reached as to how those schools will be managed. But we seem to have a gap here, because if those rules, those conditions had been properly laid out, we wouldn't have the kind of crisis that we have at the moment.
All right, Alhaji, yeah. But we're talking about uniforms here. My unabashed dictionary describes a uniform as something having the same form or degree, or if you like, a certain outfit that members of a group must wear. I started by citing Holy,
who allow it as their right to the use of hijab. Why now? The fact that you have not started doing the right thing had been issue from the beginning.
What was the right thing here?
I think the issue is this.
Does not stop you that you cannot start when you realize it is time for me to do it. Because there has been agitation over the years.
So
because they have not been allowed to use it, does not mean it has never been in their mind. There have been agitations.
I think the issue here.
Let me finish this my point.
Okay.
I like what you said, that these are now public schools. So they were founded by missionaries. But at a point, government took over. When government took over, government are the one responsible for the overhead, repair, rehabilitation, payment of teacher salaries. It has now become public school. Since it has become public school, Muslims should be allowed the use of hijab. It is just tolerance.
Yeah, I would agree with you that intolerance is at the center of this. But again, there are fundamental issues that we cannot run away from. And that is that our leaders oftentimes tend to take advantage of the citizens. They play up these religious cards, they play up the ethnic cards because they want the numbers. Let us not pretend. Citizen asked, why now? Okay, we have institutions, girls' schools, boys' schools that are as old as 100 years. Okay, I'm very familiar with Holy Child in Ikoyi, because my son schooled at Greg's. I also schooled at Greg's. Okay, so the fundamental issues here is that I think that what our friends across the other religious divide are basically doing is I see an unseen hand. I think that our political leaders are pulling the strings somewhere. That's what I think, because our children, no, because, excuse me, because our children who are in school don't really bother about these uniforms. So you ask yourself, how come somebody woke up Sunday and then the kids are being told when you get to school, demand that you should be allowed to wear the hijab, or you should be allowed to wear the chorister's gown and all that. So we don't need this. We don't need, our children need to school in an environment where there is absolute tolerance.
Harmony.
Because if you allow them, they don't even care. All they want is study. All they want is access to education. So when our Christian leaders, our Muslim leaders wake up and begin to inflame these religious passions, you wonder if that is what we really need, to advance the cost of education in our country. Uniforms cannot be the issue. In fact, you want to ask yourself, does the hood make the monk? It doesn't.
Alhaji?
To some extent, you say it doesn't. But, there are some certain things, like when you go to the court, apart from magistrate, maybe high court, appeal court, we see how judges are dressed, and it is mandatory they should appear. So, you are right, at 21st century, this is not what we supposed to be discussing.
Not at all.
Those who are commuters in those forces are not just belong to one religion. They preach. Other people tolerate it. If not because the BRT buses in Lagos, government made it, government said nobody should hawk, nobody should preach. I believe some people would have turned it to be a preaching ground.
In fact, I would
government,
okay.
Because they knew it could lead to certain things, they banned public preaching in buses. Like I told one of my colleagues shortly before I came on here, I said, some people, if you do not listen the way they listen, if you do not believe what they believe in, the way they look at you, either they will say you are not objective or you are not in tune with what is going on.
Alhaji,
hijab can be worn by female students. Okay, those public schools are run by either the federal government or the state governments. Yeah. Most times, really, states and federal government. And in those public schools, the laws guiding them are as laid out by the institutions that have set up those schools. The missionary schools are those that are owned by religious bodies, be it Christian, Muslim, and within so I think that is clear. Traditional rulers, yes. So the rules are very clear. But what I have observed is that we allow politics, to come in the way. Sometimes in the way we manage public institutions. And you have already examples. You have the quota system, and now we have the uniform, controversy introduced into it.
Yeah.
Those early days, you didn't have that.
Yeah.
Because politicians, our political leaders are beginning to see opportunity in playing up, the religious card.
We are saying, and Sam, we are saying that for Holy Child, for instance, 78 years.
Should be over 78 years.
Yeah, 78 years. Queen Amina, 70 years. No wahala about the uniform. And then suddenly you are saying, because it's a federally run or state run, you must whip up these cards. Alhaji, what's your attitude towards this?
I think it is individual.
You talk about intolerance here.
Mr. Shakiru, he told me that in his community, somewhere in Osun, God will ask it.
Okay.
And in the individual established school, he's a Muslim, and he allowed Christian students to put on their beret, and the Muslims put on their hijab. This is private school. He allowed adherents of the two religions to put on symbol of their religion on their head while coming to it.
But the
can
school,
tolerate.
the school is not a religious school.
No, I would say yes and no. It is established by a Muslim. It's a private school, but he allowed. I know many people won't allow that. They will insist that no, since I'm a Muslim, you have to dress according to Islamic way. Since this school is established by a Christian, I won't allow a non-Christian to dress by putting on their own hijab. What my brother said that most times politicians create this problem, I disagree with him. Like in this case, how do we blame politicians? Politicians only allowed Muslim children because of agitation by the Muslims that we want our children to use hijab. And some people say no over their dead body won't allow it. We now said maybe some children, they do not care about how they dress. They are only after about that from the Muslim background. While they are babies, they are trained on how to use hijab. They are already used to it. By the time they get to school authorities use hijab when I'm at home. Why is it that when I go to school, I'm not allowed to use it? Lots of explanation how to be given by the parents. And because of the situation, we find ourselves, those who are in authority or people of another religion won't permit that. So I think we cannot blame everything on politicians. That it is the politician that is causing harmony, that won't define.
What of a school owner who behaves like a politician? Of course, you know we are all political animals.
Of course.
Of course.
So I would agree with you that we cannot lay all our problems at the doorstep of politicians. But we can also not deny the fact that this class of people, as few as they are positioned to influence a lot of things. That is the truth. I've talked about the clamor for numbers, and we know how they want to go about getting these numbers. It's either playing up the ethnic card.
What number? The numbers. How do you mean numbers?
They want people to queue behind them during the election. So it's either you are from my tribe, or you are a member of my church, or a member of my religion. Okay?
Sam, Alhaji, are you following him?
I'm following him.
Yeah, so...
So
I would agree to some extent that we cannot put all our problems at the doorstep, because you also need followership that is discerning, that knows what they want. But then, if the political class, those who are in a position to influence things, don't allow these controversies, they will not rear their ugly hairs. That's my argument. And in this instance, I'm not just talking about those who belong to different political parties. I'm talking about the religious leaders themselves. And I don't want to begin to mention names here. Okay? We know about the Christian bodies and the Muslim bodies who want to pass comments on every political development in this country.
Yes, Sam, but we know from the beginning that man used God or religion to justify the unjustifiable. And that's what we are having here.
Exactly.
So you talking about the numbers doesn't cut an ice with me.
But citizen,
Kwara State is not going into election, or is it?
You know, I'm afraid your argument would suggest that it's only when it's time for election that they begin to build
I want to see it that way. I want to see it that way.
No, it's usually a strategic move. It takes time. Kwara may not be going to election, okay, but the country is preparing for election. You ask yourself, how come politicians have started whipping up sentiments 3 years to the general elections in 2023?
All right, so when the issue of hijab came up,
it did.
Can we blame politicians of that?
No, that's again, did we build? Because if there is a gap, people want to exploit those gaps. If the law of the land says does not prescribe, okay, that hijab must be worn at the law school. So what our leaders will do, or those in position of authority will do, will be to ensure that the laws governing such are properly defined, because there's a gap. That's why somebody is saying, look, I have to dress in hijab. Now, if the law doesn't stop her, or of course stop her from wearing the hijab, she has a case. And ultimately, she was allowed to graduate with her
Alhaji,
hijab on.
Sam and Alhaji, but I do know that the the 1999 Constitution does not recognize a state religion.
Yes.
It says the state must divorce itself from religion of any sort.
You are talking about secularism. Citizen Jones, you and I know
What's the opposite?
Nigeria
What's
is
the
a secular state.
Alhaji? What's the opposite of secular?
I'm coming. Nigeria is not a secular state.
But
Rather,
what?
we are multi-religious society. Even in some national events like Democracy Day, Independence Day, to pray for the nation. And many states even sponsor pilgrims to Mecca and Jerusalem.
Don't even take me there.
Hold
it.
I don't want to go there.
It is not been
Just
doing this for many years until very recently.
I think our constitution is very clear on the issue of secularism, if you permit.
Are we a secular state? Are we really a secular state?
We are
He's saying a multi-religious. Are we secular?
We can be multi-religious, but the constitution says, look,
we are not secular.
the state cannot impose any religion on the country. On the people.
That.
So I think that is clear. That's my understanding of
what if I go by that.
Yes.
Then what's playing out in Kwara?
What is playing out in Kwara, citizen?
I keep on repeating this. It is intolerance. Because no Christian child or children afford to put on hijab. Even among the Muslim children, if there are anyone that opted not to use hijab, no one has right to force her. Even because Islam also said, La ikraha fi din. That is, no compulsion in religion. You can only guide, you can only admonish, you can only preach to allow the person to take action.
See why I often in my conversation of this type, talk about the leadership challenge that we have is in Kwara, in Oyo, in Lagos, and in some other places where this hijab, controversy, had reared its head. For me, it was a straightforward case. I mean, you had a public school funded by government.
Good. Hold on. You said public schools.
Funded by government.
Let me mention just a minute.
Okay.
St. James Secondary School, CNS College, St. William's Secondary School, St. Anthony Secondary School, St. John's School, Ekwa School, St. Barnabas School, Surulere Baptist Secondary School, CAC Secondary School, and Bishop Smith Secondary School, all in Kwara.
Yes.
If they have become government-run institutions, and government says there shall be no imposition of religion on the public, wherein comes the hijab controversy? Alhaji.
Government is not of hijab. It is the Muslims that are willing to carry out.
And what is the place? What is the place of that government? What's the place of the government in?
Only allow the Muslim children to put on their hijab if they are willing to.
If that, did you hear that?
If they are willing to do it.
Okay.
Because if you look at Quran, chapter 24, verse 31.
Oh, come on. The line is becoming a little funny there.
Listen to me again.
You are better. You are a lot better.
Yes. Like I said earlier, this of hijab is Allah's injunction, and it is contained in Holy Quran.
Yeah, but I agree. But this is a government-run school. Government shall not impose religion and on anybody, whatever it takes. If it is a Muslim school, we understand. If it is a Christian school, we understand. Not a public school.
Citizen, there is no imposition here. The Muslims are not complaining that the use of hijab is being.
But the Christians are saying there will be no wearing of hijab in these schools. That's what is causing palaver in Kwara State.
They were only intervening. I don't want to call it a maybe some interloper, because none of their own children are asked to come and use hijab. If they want, they would have opted for the use of parents for their children. When they took over those institutions many years ago, they should have changed the name of those institutions, because they retain those things. That is why the religious bodies are still mainstream. This also the school that was founded by the Muslims, like the Ansarudin, the Nawaruddin. If they have changed the name of the school, I believe no religious body will still lay claim to it.
Alhaji, before Sam comes in, I remember Ahmadiyya Doso College, somewhere in Apapa. There has been no issue about the uniform over time. Why now?
So I think
it's still the same politics we are talking about.
So we can begin to speculate, citizen, about what could have instigated the kind of controversy we have at the moment.
You told me the numbers.
Numbers.
And the followers, according to you.
Yeah, and
numbers one.
Yeah, and that could part of it. And we've talked about intolerance, but I will continue to argue that our government sometimes does its things shabbily. Now, I don't have a very clear understanding of how stakeholder relationship has been designed in most of these schools. So if government claims that these are public schools and shareholding is 60 for missionaries and then 40 for government, you wouldn't say government is in total control. So there must be a reason why these mission schools are saying we won't tolerate this. Because I don't have, I can't be exact about what the stakeholder arrangement is in this mission school's management, saying, look, we won't take this. And that is perhaps because they do still have some kind of controlling share, and maybe that explains why the names have been retained as
1953 09011111953 and 0809 222 2953 0809. Hear what the listener has to say about the hijab palaver in Kwara State. We have a caller here. I want to, yes, sir. Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Bennett. I'm calling from Surulere at the moment.
All right, Bennett, go ahead. Oh, sorry about that. Hello, good morning. We lost the contact to Bennett.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Citizen Jones. My name is Olarinde. I'm calling in from Magboro.
All right. Okay. Let's go on. Go on.
I like to look at it this way. If it's a Christian school, asking pupils to wear hijab is wrong. If it's a Muslim school, forcing the other religion to wear a religion that is attuned to the religion of the school, it's equally wrong. This whole thing is calling for chaos. If tomorrow an Ogun worshipper decides to wear an Ogun apparel for his award to this school, what would happen? This country, we're just religious, we're just moving forward. Religion is a fraud, and everybody seems to be using it.
Come on. You are on.
Okay, I'm Afolabi.
Go on.
Hello, are you with me?
You are on.
Okay.
Yeah.
My advice is, if they belongs to the Christians, I mean, if the percentage of ownership is about 60% to the founder of the school, I mean the Christians, then the government should just let them be. Whatever they want to decide for their students, they should decide it. That if the school belongs to the Muslims and the ownership is about 60%,
then I don't think there is any need for us to engage in unnecessary religious crisis.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
I had said if for so many years they had been cohabiting without palaver, why now? We take another. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, yes.
That shows Islamism of the society.
All right.
Things change. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, keep your radio out of it. Please keep your radio out of it. I want to take you. Please. Let's go. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, go on.
My name is Yemi. I'm calling from Festa.
Yemi Festa, go on.
Yeah, since this controversy started, it is very, very unfortunate that our politicians are using religion to divide us. If a Saudi started a school, have a school, I think the main purpose, one of the purposes of establishing that school, is to introduce their children to Islamic education right from the youthful days. And if Baptist or Kerubim and Seraphim started a school, one of the major purposes is to introduce their children to the basic principles of Christian religion. Mm-hmm. And every parent has a choice. If I'm a Christian, to send my children to a Christian school. If I'm a Muslim, to send my child to a Muslim school. To imbibe Christian knowledge or to imbibe Muslim knowledge. Why should I, as a Christian or a Muslim, send my child to a Christian school and be forcing him to imbibe Islamic religion? This thing is just a divisive policy.
Okay.
Kwara State government, I'm very disappointed that this thing is not named in the board. Okay. We will continue to be divided in this country along religious lines.
Except we do something else. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. We'll take another call.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. I greet you.
I am Jimo Akeno.
Okay, then.
I'm calling from Lagos. I want to thank all of you that you have really educated me. But let me just say I enjoy you. Wait on. We are pretending a lot in this part of the world. And I want to say what we should be hammering on is what the law provides for. Does the law allow us to wear whatever we like to anywhere? Does the law allow us to practice our faith in this? We have two main religions. I disagree with that. Alhaji Sarafa, I disagree. Okay. Most of these quote-unquote Christian and Muslims will do some other thing under cover.
Uh-huh.
And we know, and we have seen these people, quote-unquote, identify themselves as members of the uniform, and they don't hide it. And many of them have institutions. They don't want to just tag the name to belong to either Christian or Muslim.
So what to do?
There's no better time to do the right thing. There's no better time to do the right thing, especially when you become conscious. When you become conscious of what you're because the Allah that I serve say, okay, females should cover their head. So when you know that that's what your God is, you must go for it.
Thank you.
We should obey God first before we obey human beings.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, please, okay, let's go, madam. Your name, where you're calling from?
My name is Mrs. Emmanuel. I'm calling from Satellite Town.
All right.
I will just go straight to the point. If these schools in question were Christian schools that have their own law, and they have the school policies that state what a child should wear to school. We shouldn't have this time now, we shouldn't have this period now, begin to give birth to things that divide us. If a Muslim child needs to go to wear hijab to school, he should go to a Muslim school where it is allowed. And if a Christian needs to wear berets and wear clothes that depict that they are Christians, they should be allowed to go to where they will get that moral. We are just creating problems for ourselves based on religious lines.
Needlessly.
enough of somebody coming on here and coming to say, I try to listen to what the Alhaji is, and the Alhaji is saying. I try to pick where it's going and where it's coming. One of your own there hacks there is this is Nigeria a secular state? I couldn't get a reply. And the other one, please.
All right.
For the sake of peace, we have a lot of burning issues.
We have.
If these schools were owned purely by Christians,
yeah, much more than we can chew.
Let them follow. Every organization has policies that rules it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. One last call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Well, Moses speaking. This recurrent issue is needless. It's a case of the proverbial ostrich burying its head in the sand, thinking the body is safe. Look, if it's a government school, there should be neutrality. If it's a strictly Christian school, let them practice Muslim school. I had a friend that attended Asaruddin in the 80s to 90s. Nobody forced him to change his religion.
Yeah.
So why now? Went to an Asaruddin, he went in a Christian, he left a Christian. Nobody forced anything on him.
Thank you very much. Yeah, let's begin to coast home. Alhaji Lawal. Yeah, let's begin to coast home. Is Nigeria a secular state? You are saying it is multi-religious, right?
Yes, that is what we are.
Sam, are we a secular state?
That's what the Constitution says.
No. Are we? I'm talking about you, not the Constitution. What are we a secular state?
I think we are.
Okay.
We are not.
So, Alhaji Sarafa, let's take us home.
Okay. I thank all the callers, and I want to identify with what Obuli Jimo Akero from Ibesa said, that there is no better time to do the right thing. That has put an end to all what our people are saying, why now, why now? Right thing can be done at the right time. There was a time in this country we were not using GSM phone. Only the few privileged Nigerians have access to the phone. At a point, we started using it. Can anybody say why now? So there is no imposition. I think what is really disturbing some people is to see that why are we going to fold our arm and allow another religion to flourish?
Build this into it. So many parents are not helping matters either.
Yes, we are not helping ourselves. If, for example, a pregnant woman that is about to deliver goes into an hospital, are you going to ask for the religion of the doctor? Or when you are traveling, you want to board a plane, are you going to find out the pilot, is he a Muslim or Christian? It is we, the followers, that are allowing mundane issues to define ourselves. We have been cohabiting with one another.
All right.
The key point is tolerance.
Sam.
Okay, I think in all this case, in this matter, we need transparency, pure transparency. We need to continue to hold our government accountable. Government needs to understand that it has to lead in a manner that it doesn't leave anyone in doubt as to where, our society. I need us to understand that law rules.
Law is made for man. Man not made for law.
Yeah. If the courts have ruled that the hijab could be worn or should be worn by female students in public schools, then so be it. If the missionary schools think that they don't need any more of government help and that they can comfortably run 100% without seeking government support, then they should make moves. They should initiate action to get their schools back and run the schools the way they want. That way,
that's why
same thing applies to Muslim schools.
That's why I started by citing Holy Child College, Lagos. Muslim students also attend the school. The same with Queen Amina College in Kaduna. But Alhaji and Sam, Second Republic, we had Alhaji Latif Jakande Lawal and Alhaji Rafiu Jafojo. They were governors and deputy governor of Lagos State. Wahala no day, and LKJ delivered. So it is not religion. It is just man's attitude.
Reject our humanity, and not, you know,
religion
would divide us most of the time.
Even in a way of speaking, yesterday